It all began with a scream. A mother was giving birth to a child, but complications led to a cesarean section. The doctor informed the parents that nothing could be done for the child's deformity. Despite the shock, they promised to love him. As he grew, his peers bullied him, but some showed kindness. Over time, the cruelty took its toll, and one day in frustration, he killed a bully. Terrified, he confessed to his parents, who locked him in the basement to protect him. He had a friend there, communicating through notes and drawings. But when the news of the murder spread, an angry mob gathered outside. They set the house on fire, and the parents perished in the flames. The child tried to save his friend, but the basement door was too strong. He fled the burning house, and the townspeople found him floating in the lake, but he sank to the bottom, never to be seen again, as a thick fog formed, concealing his body. Next, we see Mia sitting by the lake, lost in thought, when her friend Cherry suddenly startles her. Alan approaches, saying he doesn't want any drama while they're around, and Cherry agrees, emphasizing that the fate of their YouTube channel is at stake. She then mentions that she has some great ideas to improve things, and when he asks how, Cherry replies that it's a surprise and starts kissing him. Mia interrupts, saying she has a bad feeling, and Alan says she always has those bad feelings. But when Mia points to the fog, Alan, shocked, asks if she managed to film it. Cherry questions, saying it's just fog. Then Alan says that Popeye appears when the fog rolls in. He explains that 15 years ago, a boy named Popeye drowned in this lake, and says they will film more of the lake when the fog comes. That night they begin filming, and Alan greets their viewers in The Haunting Houses, a series that explores the homes of murderers on their YouTube channel. He shares the legend of Johnny, nicknamed Popeye, who strangled a schoolmate so hard that the victim's eyes popped out. Cherry adds that the townspeople burned the house with Popeye and his family inside, and Alan explains that despite its dark past, the house has recently been bought and is being renovated. Cherry says the current owner is uncertain about the house's future, as many people have disappeared in the area. Suddenly, Mia notices a figure passing behind them and quickly tells them she saw someone. Cherry asks if she just ruined the filming, but Mia whispers that she really saw someone there. They visit the house, and Cherry suggests starting in the basement, to which Alan agrees, but Mia proposes staying upstairs to capture sound while they go down to film. Cherry retorts that that's not what they are paying her for, but Alan likes the idea and tells Mia to get some sound. Alan and Cherry enter the basement, and Alan comments that everything looks exactly like the newspaper photographs. He asks if she thinks the ghosts of Popeye's parents still haunt the house, but Cherry moves closer and says she likes having an audience. She then starts kissing him and tells him to keep the camera rolling, suggesting they try something different. They start kissing, and suddenly, a figure passes quickly. Meanwhile, Mia records sound near the lake. Mia suddenly hears a noise and sees a figure on the other side of the lake. A strange whisper fills her headphones, causing her to rip them off in alarm, and in the next moment, Popeye appears behind her and knocks her down. Terrified, Mia screams in pain, struggling to escape, but he leans over her and without hesitation steps on her head, brutally killing her. Back in the basement, while Alan and Cherry are immersed in the moment, Popeye suddenly plunges his hand into Cherry's stomach, killing her instantly, and Alan, horrified, manages to get up and flees in a panic. He hides behind a generator, struggling to control his breathing, and watches in horror as Popeye rummages through the room looking for him. After some time, Popeye turns around and leaves the area, and seizing the opportunity, Alan tries to escape quietly, but Popeye suddenly returns and knocks him down with a hammer. Alan struggles as Popeye tries to strangle him, but he grabs the hammer and hits Popeye in the head, momentarily freeing himself. With great effort, he drags himself toward the stairs, only to see Popeye coming after him. He starts to climb, but his broken leg slows him down. Popeye catches up to him, grabs his head and squeezes with superhuman strength, making Alan's eyes pop out of their sockets before he finally dies. Just then, a note slides out from under the door, welcoming Popeye back. After that, we see George trying to convince Laura to sell Popeye's house, which was left to her by a history teacher who had worked with her before passing away. Laura insists they will not sell it, and just then her daughter Tara arrives. They get up and hug her, and Laura mentions that her friend has been waiting outside for a long time. After that, Tara finds her other friends and thanks them for their help, saying it really means the world to her. Nick asks if the house is haunted, to which she replies that many theories have arisen online about what happened. However, a recurring story is that he drowned in the lake, so they are keeping well away from it. Nick mentions that he only found out the house had caught fire a few years ago and asks if they plan to destroy what's left and rebuild it, to which Dylan clarifies that the house has already been rebuilt. He questions who would do that, and Tara says she thinks it was fans of the legend who rebuilt it. Regardless, in the coming days, they plan to turn Popeye's house into a haunted house attraction. On the way to Popeye's house, they accidentally hit a man, and when he asks where they are going in such a hurry, Tara mentions that her parents are the owners of Popeye's house. The man asks if they are serious, warning them about the rumors, to which Sky dismisses as campfire stories, but the man seriously warns them not to go near the house and to stay out of the fog, as it is lethal. Meanwhile, the others arrive at the house, and Kathy notes there is no signal. The others then arrive too, and when Nick asks why the house is clean, Tara explains that she and her dad come here once a month to tidy up and discuss ideas for the place. Suddenly, a scream pierces the air, and they run to the back of the house, finding Kathy, who is standing next to the hot tub. Meanwhile, Popeye gets out of his boat, sensing the group's presence in the house. Later, as Tara works, Dylan notices and asks how she gets a signal there, to which she explains that certain spots in the area have coverage, and this cabin is one of them. Before Dylan can say anything more, Tara points out the weather forecast and shows him that the area will be covered in fog from sunset until dawn, which wasn't the case when she checked at home. Dylan says he can handle a little fog, but Tara explains that it's dense enough to shorten the days, which means she'll have to convince everyone to work even harder. Meanwhile, the man is fishing in the lake when he suddenly feels someone's presence nearby. Becoming restless, he stands up and looks around, but before he can react, Popeye attacks him, strangling him to death. Back at the house, Tara tells everyone that since the weather changed, it would be a good idea to get some work done before the fog comes for the lake. However, Kathy and Sky insist they can do that in the morning. Donna and Dylan try to convince them otherwise, and Nick agrees, saying it will be easier if everyone contributes now. Meanwhile, George is still trying to convince Laura to sell the house when they are interrupted by Dylan's mother, Jane, who urgently tells Laura that he has come back. Worried, Laura goes out, and Jane hands her a newspaper with the headline saying that 3 people were killed in Popeye's house. Jane anxiously asks if she knows where the kids are, but Laura says that George is at home and they will discuss this tomorrow. At Popeye's house, a woman knocks at the door, startling everyone. Tara answers and asks if she can help her, but the woman warns that they shouldn't be there. Tara insists that her father owns the place, but the woman enters, saying that if they leave now, he won't hurt them. When Nick asks what she would do, she replies that it's not what she will do. Donna dismisses her, pointing out that there are more of them and that she has no one to call. The woman insists it's her house, but Donna sarcastically suggests calling a psychiatric hospital before slamming the door in her face. However, Tara follows the woman and apologizes, asking if there is anything they can do, but the woman replies that she wants everyone to suffer as he suffered. Pointing to the house, the woman tells Tara that she is the chosen one and he will come for her. Then, without another word, she runs away. Meanwhile, Laura tries to call Tara, but the call goes to voicemail. Back at Popeye's house, Sky and Nick are approaching when she suddenly tells him to break up with Donna. Shocked, he pushes her back, but she insists that she's tired of hiding their relationship. Nick provocatively says that the risk makes everything exciting, but Sky steps back, saying that maybe she wants to be caught. When she stands up, he grabs her, asking what she's doing. Frustrated, she warns that if he doesn't tell Donna, she will tell her. Nick blows up, pushing her back and declaring that he's done, saying he never wants to see her again. He gets out of the hot tub, stating that she ruined everything, and walks away. Angry and dejected, Sky picks up her phone and texts Donna, revealing everything about her and Nick. And as she hits send, the fog outside the house thickens ominously, and she becomes slightly alarmed upon noticing it. Alarmed, she looks around, but then relaxes, choosing to ignore it. However, Popeye slowly approaches her with an anchor and strangles her with it. Sky struggles to break free, but Popeye drowns her in the water, causing her to suffocate and die after some time. The woman then arrives and tells Popeye that it's them, saying that this is what he was waiting for. Sky's phone then vibrates, showing that the message she sent to Donna failed to deliver. The next morning, Tara asks if anyone has seen Sky. Then Nick responds that he saw her leaving in a taxi. Then Tara questions him about why, to which he replies he doesn't know. Meanwhile, Max approaches Kathy and asks if they can go out on a date, to which she takes his phone, takes a selfie, and hands it back, saying he wouldn't want to go out with her anyway and can do what he wants with the picture. Frustrated, Max leaves the house and begins walking through the woods when suddenly he hears a noise and turns to look, but sees no one there. Ignoring it, he continues walking to the dock. Curious, he approaches Popeye's boat and boards it. As he looks around, a strange smell catches his attention, making him feel uneasy. He decides to leave the boat, and we see the lifeless body of the fisherman. Max sits on the deck, takes out his phone, and starts masturbating while looking at the picture of Kathy, but suddenly Popeye attacks him with his anchor, causing Max to scream in pain. Popeye climbs onto the deck from behind, and, before Max can react, he grabs his head, shoves his hand through Max's back, and rips out his spine. He then grabs Max's head again and violently yanks it from his body. Meanwhile, Donna takes a picture of her friends, and Sky's message finally gets delivered. Kathy, hearing the noise from the message, asks if she managed to get a signal. But Donna looks at Nick, and realizing the situation, he quickly follows her. Jane visits Laura, saying she found Dylan's diary and is sure they went to the house. Laura quickly goes out, and George asks what's going on, but Laura comes back and says the keys are missing. Nick denies Sky's allegations, but Donna asks how he could betray her. Nick explains that a man has needs, and when she asks why he doesn't just date Sky, he replies that she isn't the ideal woman he wants as his wife. Frustrated, Donna turns to leave, but he stops her, pleading to talk. She slaps him, saying she never wants to see him again before storming out. In a moment of rage, Nick punches a board, breaking it and injuring his hand. Just then, a can of spinach is thrown from outside, startling Nick, who becomes intrigued. He cautiously approaches it and picks it up, but before he can make sense of it, a dense fog starts to enter the room, and through the mist, he sees Popeye running toward him, but Nick manages to knock him down and starts punching his face, but Popeye breaks his hand and throws him across the room. When Nick turns around, Popeye charges at him, and Nick asks who he is. Instead of answering, Popeye attacks, making him drop the knife. Taking control, Popeye drags Nick toward the broken board and brutally kills him by pressing his eye against a protruding piece of wood. Meanwhile, Donna finds an axe stuck in one of the car's tires and immediately assumes Nick is behind this. Frustrated, she goes back to the room, but freezes in terror upon seeing Nick's lifeless body there. Then, realizing the broken glass on the floor, Donna hesitantly pulls the curtain, only to find the woman there. Fear overtakes her as she backs away, overwhelmed by the strange scene, but Popeye suddenly scares her, making her scream as she runs out of the room. Meanwhile, Dylan wakes Tara and says they have no idea where the others are. Outside, Tara asks Kathy where everyone is, to which she replies that she has looked everywhere. Dylan tells them not to panic, saying they probably just went to get some drinks or something. Kathy agrees, but when Tara asks if she checked the lake, Kathy remains silent. Tara heads there, but Kathy tells Dylan to let her go and that she will be back in a minute. Arriving at the lake, Tara notices a photo. Then curious, she picks it up and is shocked to see her mother in it. Meanwhile, Donna hides behind a tree, holding her breath as Popeye passes by, and just when she tries to escape, a net suddenly ensnares her, trapping her. Tara returns to Dylan and Kathy, showing the image she found. Dylan observes that his mother has the same picture on the wall, but Tara points out that the child in the background isn't in hers. Dylan then asks why she is so burned, and Tara replies that she doesn't know, but her mom must know. Meanwhile, while Donna struggles to break free from the net, the headlights of a lawnmower suddenly turn on, and her breath catches as she sees Popeye sitting behind the wheel. As Popeye drives the tractor toward her, she screams desperately, pleading for him to stop. She shouts for help, but Popeye doesn't slow down and advances, running the lawnmower over her. The others hear Donna's anguished scream and immediately run in that direction, and when they arrive, they find her writhing in agony. Popeye turns to them, causing them to turn and flee the scene. As they run through the woods, Kathy trips and falls, but Dylan and Tara don't notice, leaving her behind. Kathy is terrified to see Popeye there, and she screams in fear before fleeing. Just then, a car arrives and stops. Jane, Laura, and George get out, searching for their children, but leave the keys in the ignition. They arrive at the house, and Laura suggests that their kids must be in the cabins, but just then, they spot someone hidden behind a tree. George asks what's going on. Then Laura says she'll explain everything as soon as they find Tara. Suddenly, Popeye attacks Jane, strangling her so violently that her eyes pop out. George and Laura run and find Tara and Dylan, and when Dylan asks how they knew where to find them, Laura explains that his mother showed her the news article. Then Dylan asks if his mother is with them. But they reveal the truth about her death, and Laura then urges them to leave immediately. Kathy manages to reach the car and desperately tries to start it, but it doesn't start, and her horror deepens when she sees Popeye standing in front of the vehicle. As he slowly approaches, she screams in fear while trying to start the car, but with terrifying strength, he lifts the car from one side and flips it over. Kathy injures herself trapped inside the car, and meanwhile, Popeye strikes a match and tosses it into the fuel leaking from the vehicle, causing it to explode. The group returns to the cabin, and George asks Laura what's happening, to which she reveals that the stories they've heard over the past 15 years are all lies, and the figure outside is Johnny, her former student. Laura explains that a week after his death, he began haunting her dreams, and soon the entire town of Sweetville had the same terrifying dreams. The dream instructed them to rebuild the house, ensure that one person always owned the land, and never alter it. The house was passed in alphabetical order by surname, and when the first person died, Laura became the second owner. Tara asks how they can stop Johnny, but Laura admits she doesn't know. Regretfully, she says that if only she hadn't gone to that house with them. But when she saw Johnny through the window, she says she had to act. Tara asks what she means, and Laura explains that Johnny was bullied at school, and she pressured the children to include him in their games, but only Tara tried to help him. Fearing for her safety, Laura joined the village's parents to eliminate the threat, and they killed Johnny. Suddenly, the woman appears at the window, startling them. She enters the cabin, stabbing Laura and then George when he tries to stop her. She then warns Tara not to move, saying she knows that Johnny won't hurt her because she is like him. When Tara asks who she is, the woman introduces herself as Olive, Johnny's sister. She explains that she was locked in the basement and forgotten by her parents, but Johnny sneaked downstairs to feed her. She hated seeing him sad and couldn't save him that day. Now, Johnny's soul wanders the forests of Sweetville, haunting the dreams of those who destroyed his home until they restore his house. She says Johnny lives within the fog that comes from the lake, and all he ever wanted was to play what was never allowed when they were children. Dylan attacks, but she overpowers him, bringing him down. She says he is cute and will have fun with him once he dies, but before she can act, Tara douses her in gasoline, forcing her to retreat. Dylan and Tara manage to escape the house with Laura, but Olive chases them and grabs Tara, trying to strangle her while saying that Johnny loves her. Dylan pulls a lighter from his pocket and calls for Olive. Tara takes the opportunity and pushes her aside, and then Dylan says that this is for his mother, before lighting the lighter and throwing it at her. Olive catches fire and screams in agony before dying. However, Popeye grabs Laura, and Tara watches helplessly as he strangles her mother. After that, Popeye releases Laura and throws the anchor at Dylan, knocking him down. He then advances toward him, punching Dylan in the face. Meanwhile, Tara starts the lawnmower, distracting Johnny, who rises and begins to move toward her, but then realizes that the anchor chain is tied to his leg, and Dylan seizes the opportunity, grabbing the anchor and throwing it into the lake, dragging Popeye along with it. Popeye desperately claws at the grass, but Tara runs the lawnmower over him, crushing his hands in the blades and finally killing him. As Dylan and Tara are leaving, Tara tosses the house keys into the lake. However, to her horror, the keys fall right back in front of her. Suddenly, Popeye attacks Tara, and the film ends here.